Yeah, my name is McLean. I teach AV, so audio video technology classes, and graphic design. We've worked with pre-K kids and interviewed them, some of my graphic design kids, and kind of got a rough sketch, quote unquote, very rough sketch from some of these little kids where they have their monsters. They've chosen some decisions, kind of like their shapes and size and features, and then my graphic design kids have turned that kind of into a fully developed professional character. And now we're moving forward from just a standstill picture that they've developed and spent a lot of time on to learning how to make that move, make it have some kind of, it shows off the emotion that they chose in the first place. And so we're working on very simplistic bouncing a ball, blasting off a rocket, some sort of more simple animation styles, and then we're going to integrate kind of how do we do that with a character? How do we do that with an idea that was originally somebody else's and then, bring it to fruition still? With Rappaport, we have a lot of technology, but it's stuff that we get from other grants. It's stuff that we get from other schools, other places that can kind of gift back to us. And so we don't have the most updated graphic design lab. We're able to do things like the basics of Photoshop, Illustrator, but things nowadays, very recent stuff, is a little bit more difficult to do. We had our awesome Miss Ward put together a grant for iPads, iPad Pros, the brand new honkin' might as well be a computer in your hands kind of tablet, and the name brand Apple Pencils, the $200 a device kind of iPhone in your hand sort of stylus. And it created this opportunity for some of these students where they may have never had the opportunity to, we have one here, to use something of this stature, right? We have something like this itself is going to cost you over $200 just to buy from a store somewhere. A lot of these kids don't have those kind of ability to freeform money around like that. This creates an opportunity where they're able to do something with their hands graphically, still doing design work without being dependent on a mouse and a keyboard. They've had a chance to physically do something themselves where they may have never had that opportunity otherwise. The students tend to view it completely differently. They started off, we did just computers, right? And their mouse and keyboard, and then we moved to iPads, and it wasn't like, oh, this is a piece of paper. They were like, this is still a screen that I need to don't stand it up. They were standing it up like the computer, like set it down on the piece, like draw on it like a piece of paper. It seemed to be just this completely opposite field of thinking. It took from left brain technical information to right brain. Now I'm really creatively making something. I'm having to force my hand to physically do that option instead of picking a tool that's going to do a job, right? And so I think that itself has kind of cracked open some of that right brain thinking, but it's hard to round that curve, take them from technical, left brain, now let's branch over. And you're going to do fully right brain thinking while also trying to make sure you're following logistical standpoints. It's been cool. It's definitely been a different experience, but it's been something to stretch their comfort zone and I think, their creative ability. At the moment, these monsters are very independent because the students talk to these other students independently. We want to see that cultivated. We want to see the relationship between some of these little kids and older kids where you're getting that excitement of like, wow, these are larger versions of me coming in to talk to me, and then you get to develop something for real. They're able to come back and read and talk to those students. Whether or not pre-K kids remember everything from the day or the meal before, they get to create that continuity for some of those kids. When something continues, they're going to think it's more consistent. They're going to think it's cooler. They're going to think it's more reliable. They're going to understand it a little better. And same thing for our kids. They get to go back and see those kids. They get to go back and read it. And my kids remember. My kids remember what the kid looked like. And so that means a lot more to my high school kids than they even realize until the process is completely done. The end goal is to go from sketches on paper to digital drawing to printed in a book and reading to kids.